Welcome in, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Please have a seat. We'll get started shortly. So today we want to discuss education funding for your granddaughter, Lizzy. And per your request and our discussions in our earlier meetings, we're assuming that Lizzy begins college in the fall semester of the 2029 year, and that she'll need $20,000 a year for 5 years to cover her tuition and expenses. We're also anticipating that Lizzy attends an in-state school and that her tuition and inflation will be about 6%. We do believe that the amount that you're wishing to contribute will be enough to fund her education if you follow the recommendations that we'll go over shortly. First, we'd like to share our opinion on your suggestion to use a brokerage account to fund Lizzy's college. We believe that this is a bad decision for a couple of reasons. First, the brokerage account is taxable and withdrawals would also be taxed. The current allocation is over 70% equities, making it far too risky to fund such an important goal like Lizzy's education. About 40% of those equities are held under 2 stocks, and one of which you're losing basis in. The 30% of the account that is not equities based are poorly performing fixed income funds. Reallocating to improve the overall performance and risk of the brokerage account would not be ideal because of the taxability. But before jumping right into our recommendation, we would like to explain some other ways to fund education to give you something to compare our recommendation to as a reference. Our first education vehicle we'd like to use as a comparison tool is the Series EE bond. Series EE bond can be very useful in some scenarios, but we believe that it does not work in your current financial situation. Those bonds are guaranteed to double in value and provide a total interest-paying life past its maturity. However, most maturity terms are about 20 years, so Lizzy would be 27 by the time that the money would reach its maturity. And also that you do not have the current funds to contribute a lump sum that would double in value to meet your goal. Our second funding vehicle we'd like to give as a comparison tool would be an UGMA and UTMA. UGMA as being uniform gifts to minors, and UTMA as being uniform transfer to minors, are ways to transfer assets or securities to minors to be available in their name or possession when they become a certain age. UGMA as being 18 and UTMA as being 21. Because you do not have any asset or security to be transferred to Lizzy that she can take full possession of at 18 or 21, we believe that another option will be better suited for your scenario. Also, it gives minors a heavy possession of a large chunk of assets at a somewhat early age, so we believe that there are better options out there. So our final and most realistic comparison to use is a 529 plan. There are 2 types of 529 plans, being a savings and a prepaid plan. Both types of plans have fund managers, and they act as mutual funds once money is contributed. Savings plans run off of an annual contribution, and you have full control over how much you contribute each year, and then the money is then invested to reach a target goal or a target date by that fund manager that we just talked about. A 529 prepaid plan is similar in every way except for the contribution. For a prepaid plan, you contribute in a lump sum to lock in the value of tuition in today's dollars. Then the fund manager then invests the money accordingly to beat inflation and reach your target goal and date, similar to a savings plan. Because you do not have what we estimate $36,417 to contribute on top of the value of the brokerage account as a lump sum today, we're recommending another option. 529 plans are generally not risky investments, but one downside is that you do not get to control how your contributions are invested. The biggest downside in the 529 plan is that you are only allowed to use the contributed money for education funding. Should Lizzy decide to not attend college, you would be heavily taxed on withdrawing your contributed money. So, for those reasons, we're recommending that John's Roth IRA be used as a funding vehicle for Lizzy's education, and that your $2,000 that you're contributing annually to the brokerage account simply be switched to the Roth, similar to what you'd be contributing in a 529 savings plan. So we believe that the Roth would be good for these reasons. First, that the Roth IRA contributions that you would be making each year are after tax dollars. They do not reduce the amount of your gross income or your tax bill the year that you make them. So in turn, distributions are tax-free and will be used to fund Lizzy's education. Roth IRAs are also protected accounts. The investments can be controlled and reallocated at your discretion so that we can attempt to produce a greater rate of return when compared to a 529 plan, and also match your desired risk score and tolerance in the process. Leftover distributions can also be used to fund any goal that you want, since those are just regular income from the distributions. We've calculated that less contribution money will be needed annually when compared to a 529 plan using our recommendation of the Roth IRA. So in conclusion, we believe that the Roth IRA should be funding Lizzy's education because less contribution money will be needed annually when compared to another similar funding vehicle like a 529 savings plan. You will have complete control over how your contributions are invested, which we will discuss more later in the presentation. And the Roth distributions do not have to be used to fund education expenses like in a 529 plan, which gives you guys a lot more flexibility. So do you guys have any questions? All right, fantastic. Well, we listed out what you need to do to implement these changes in the action plan portion of the financial plan, which is at the very end. So other than that, if you have any questions, please let us know. And thanks and have a great day.